Alrighty.
Hello, Drake.
Karen, what's going on?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Was there a point in the season where you kind of recognized or realized this team was special and had a chance to win a Super Bowl?
I think it's hard to maybe pinpoint one exact point. I know probably the win on the road at Buffalo was huge for us. I think just finding a way to win that game against a tough opponent, on the road, a team that's been, historically, great in playoffs. Had a home game, I think win streak and be able to win there. But really, other than that, I think just the continued success on the road has been huge for us. Continued success on the road and trying to find a way to do it one more time here.
Front row on the right, second row on the right.
Hi, Drake. Essentially, this Patriots team has gone essentially worst to first. Besides the obvious, what is the biggest year-to-year difference that you've seen in the building this year?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest thing is I think winning helps. Winning helps, and I think just buying into the same belief in each other and what Coach Vrabel's trying to get accomplished. I think from day one, I feel like the guys have really kind of took what Coach Vrabel was wanting to do with us and have just really applied it to their lives in every single way, whether it's on the field, off the field, getting treatment, doing little things, making great decisions off the field. I think the biggest thing is just, Coach Vrabel always says, he treats us how we treat the team. And I think that's how guys have taken this year. And I think it's just really, ride together and, want to play for each other. And, from there on, we just have had fun doing it, every single day since. And it's been a ride and looking forward to, trying to finish it off.
Dan Roach, far left.
Morning, Drake.
Dan, what's going on?
All good, you?
Good, brother.
Just a follow-up to what you've been saying all week. Sunday turned a corner. Monday felt good. It looked on film yesterday that we saw that you looked really good in practice. How are you feeling, and how excited are you for putting on what you do on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm really excited. A chance to play in this game is a dream come true and what you work for all year long. Like I said, I'm not trying to lie to you guys. I'm saying I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great and looking forward to get out there. Out here today. Another week, another day of practice. Got one tomorrow and feeling pretty good.
Mike Reese on the front right.
Hey, Drake.
Hey, Mike.
Sort of a two-part. What's been your favorite part of the week so far? And then when you drill down to the Seahawks defense, what do they do to put stress on you in terms of protecting the ball?
Yeah. Favorite part of this week is just being with the teammates. Just being in the hotel for a week. Getting to experience a lot of time. Had the O-line dinner last night and just experience. You feel like you're kind of living with your best friends again in college or in training camp, back in high school. You feel like you're just around your teammates 24/7. It's something that makes the experience just more special. And then the Seahawks defense, they do a great job of playing fast. They swarm to the football. We got to protect it when we're running, and obviously they play some zone coverage and they got eyes on the quarterback. Some tip balls. Got to make sure I'm being really accurate with the football, and obviously the rush is they got good players up front, so got to be careful in the pocket. But they're good at all three levels. We got a tough challenge. They play really fast and. Looking forward to a good challenge.
Cameron Wolf, back row left.
Good morning, Drake. How you doing?
Morning, brother. How are you?
You told us a lot about your family and the competitive nature there. Big game moment. Do you have a memory or a moment growing up that you think with your brothers prepares you for the pressure of Sunday?
I think just every 2-on-2 basketball in the backyard probably prepared me for this. Just the joy of it, but also the kind of the feeling you get of accomplishing something that me beat my older brothers or have an opportunity to just compete at a high level. I think it was the best thing, and just watch my older brother Luke and Cole and Bo just excel in sports growing up, and wanting the ball at the end of the games, and always being the player that you felt like if they played well they won the game, and that's just how that's the position I'm in now, and knowing that. Every game now comes with pressure, and this is part of this league, and trying to have the confidence in myself and just trusting myself and my teammates that we're gonna get that done.
Front row right in the orange.
Drake, UMass Chan, Boston, and OHSU in Portland are working together to cure a rare fatal disease that's been terminal for 70 years, and they're only $2.5 million away from curing it. And there's a friendly competition between Pats Nation and 12s to see who can raise the most money for this disease called pecan. What would you say to Pats Nation to raise more money than 12s?
Oh, any cause. Pats Nation. I'm sure they do a great job of supporting unfortunate circumstances. As you mentioned, the disease. I know that they're going to show up. I'm pushing them to do whatever they can to help somebody out and cure a disease that sounds like is tough. And anything that I feel like can change a life, I know Pats Nation will be willing to do it.
Steve Burton, back row left.
Hey, Drake.
What's up, Steve?
Two-part question. One, your sweatshirt. What does it mean? And two, how have you helped Josh, and how has Josh helped you?
Yeah, the sweatshirt is something that in chapel, Mitch, our chaplain, has been saying, really all year long, and it's be a blessing, just trying to shine light on others, spread the word, spread the good news, and it's kind of been a saying we've had all year long. So, Nike was kind enough to make some sweatshirts for the guys. We got, probably about 30 or 40 guys wearing the sweatshirt around. It's a cool thing. And then, Josh has meant the world. I think just of how he's come in and just shared his knowledge. Willing to share his experiences. Even a week like this week, where he's played in this game coming up 10 times. It's pretty cool how much knowledge he knows about kind of the competitive stamina it takes with kind of the longer timeouts, the longer pregame, kind of what it takes for just kind of having the like I said, the stamina to play in this game at a high level, the emotion and all it takes. And for me, how have I helped him? I just try to execute his plays to the best of my ability and try to help the guys get on track. And I think we've done a solid job of that, and looking forward to trying to do that one more time.
Right guy who's in the front row on the right.
Hey, Drake. Good morning. You and Will Campbell grew really close this season. Other than him protecting your blind side, what is it about him that made you two become fast friends?
I think it's just like I said, the biggest thing all year long is we're kind of in the same boat. He was a first round draft pick, left college early. Grew up in the South. He's got we got the same Southern accent. He sounds a little more country than I do, but no, he's up here living and first time living in the North. Probably hadn't seen snow as much or maybe at all his entire life, and now he's driving in it and little things. So just trying to find time and find a place for me to welcome into the to our team and to the Patriots, and know how huge he has been for us and how huge he'll be how big he'll be for us down the road. So other than that, he's he's always pretty grumpy, but he's fun. He's fun to be around. He's kind of he's got a little sarcasm comments, and he doesn't take any crap. That's the biggest thing I like about Will. On the field and even off the field. I try to tell him he's my rook, but he doesn't go for it. But I'm gonna remind him that his whole career.
Sophie Willer, front row left.
Hi, Drake.
How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good.
I'm curious, not just with Will, but the entire rookie class, obviously on both sides of the ball. Just what have you seen from them this season through their growth, and just to be able to get now to have this experience in the Super Bowl in just 1 year? Yeah,
I think it's a quick, the ability to adapt quickly. I think that gives credit to our coaching staff, gives credit to them. Trayvon's coming off a national championship, and now he's here playing in the Super Bowl. So it's probably felt like a long season for them. They talk about the rookie wall, and I feel like the biggest thing about those guys is, I haven't seen any break in them at all. They make plays for us every week. Craig Woodson on defense, on the side of the ball, Ponder, guys that have make plays all year long, Andy in the special teams. So there's these guys like that in our rookie class have just showed up, week in and week out, and it's credit to them, because I know, last year how it felt different from college, and now we're in week 20-something here, and in college you play 12 games and you're done, unless you got something after the postseason. But really, I just credit to them for showing up every day and learning the style of a new culture and being in a new environment. And like I said, we're gonna need them big on Sunday, and they showed up every week.
Jory Epstein on the far right.
Hi, Drake. Every coach, in theory, wants their players to respect the staff in the building, but your teammates have mentioned how much Mike Vrabel intentionally tells y'all that. What are some examples of times you can think of this year when Vrabes has really sent y'all a message about respecting the staff, not just the coaches and players in the building?
Yeah, one of the first things that comes to mind is, we use rags in the showers. In one of the first meetings, he said, you leave rags in the showers for the equipment guys to come in here and pick up after yourself. He's not going to wash the rags, and I don't blame him. Something little like that it's probably a little bit TMI, but little things like that, picking after yourself, knowing that somebody else has to pick up after you. And even here at the security, a lot of us probably have short tempers, saying, hey, we play on the team, why do we need a badge around here? But one of the first meetings he said, hey, we should have no problems with badges, showing our badges, everybody's got to do it. And just little things like that go a long way of treating other people right, and Coach Vrabel's the best at it, of just giving people credit in in the facility that do extra work and trying to give a $100 here, $100 there. That Coach Vrabel always says is it works out in the long run and it's bigger for them than how much they do for us.
Front row left.
Hi, Drake.
Hey, how are you?
I actually spoke to you last year in London, and that was your second career start back then. How do you reflect on your personal growth from that point till today?
Yeah, that felt like a long while ago, but yeah, so many things have changed, and just trying to learn the ins and outs of the league, and I still don't know as much as a lot of people do in here, but trying to figure out what's at stake and how much work needs to put in to come up with wins in the win column, and that's the biggest thing of how much work it takes and how much one play here, one play there can change the outcome. From there on the field, just feel like bouncing back from mistakes, kind of learning that that's going to happen in this league and trusting yourself to go make a play the next time is the biggest thing. And then from there, just growing one more year of teammates and new teammates, and what a year it's been with the guys we have in this locker room, and I'm so fortunate to have those guys, and just looking forward to building something pretty special with them.
Middle row on the right.
Hi, Drake. Nice to meet you. Quick question. You've been on a historic run this postseason of playing the best defenses in the league, and they all schematically are really different. How did they help you to prepare for this game against the Seahawks defense that's really special, what they do on the defensive side, especially regarding pass protection, and how you guys prepare for that?
Yeah, we've played some great defenses, some defenses that deserve the credit that they've gotten, and I think Seattle's just another one of them. They've played well all year long. They're statistically, one of the best defenses in the league, and I think you see that on film. You see how much, effort they play with, how well they play together, how well they're coached, and I think it's just, another chance for us to, prove why we belong here. And it's just, we just try to keep on going, on to the next one. And, Coach McDaniel's warned us that these defenses will just keep getting better and better, and it's, it's nothing we haven't seen because, the Seattle obviously plays at a high level and they're different players, but, we've seen some good defenses, and looking forward to another good matchup.
There are two final questions. Albert Breer in the back, and we'll end with Taylor Kyles.
Hey, Drake, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
So have you talked to any quarterbacks about what Sunday will be like and how it might be different than any other game you've ever played in? And if so, what was the best advice you've got?
Yeah, I think Coach McDaniel's has probably been the best with, experience in that. Coaching so many quarterbacks, really just one quarterback in this game for so long, and just knowing, the emotions of even just running out there the first time and how much how cool the moment is, but at the same time, how much you're like, man, this is it. This is what we're here for. Like I said before in here, Peyton's reached out to me after Denver and had some good tips about trying to keep some of my rhythm, my schedule the same. But really, other than that, just trying to do whatever I can. One more time, one more week. We have 2 weeks of prep and got a couple of days here now to do whatever I can this time to kind of fine tune the things and kind of dot the I's, cross the T's, and get ready for the game.
Last question, Taylor Kyles, far left.
Morning, Drake. You've done a lot of damage this postseason with your legs, and against the Seahawks defense, where they've been pretty competitive, negative and positive against those kinds of plays. How do you walk that line of still wanting to use your mobility, but also wanting to keep your eyes downfield and try to extend plays as well? Yeah,
try to man a pass for as long as I can. I think kind of on film it's tough to pinpoint, hey, I can maybe use my legs this week. It's kind of something that just comes naturally. I think that's the biggest thing for me when I'm back there in the pocket. If I feel like something's there, I go try to take it, and try to play instinctive. That's what we always say in the offensive room. Try to play with instincts and try not to think too much. So I try not to predetermine or say, hey, I'm gonna take off and run on this one. If I feel like there's a chance for me to make some yards, I'm gonna go and try to make them. And then, from there, just got to be, protect myself, but try to man a passer as long as I can, because those guys, are open, and even when they're not open, they make plays on the football. So they got a chance to, run a lot farther than I can.
Thank you, Drake.